Yeah, hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. This meeting is being recorded, and thanks for participating in Computing Consortium Outreach Committee meeting for May 14th. And I think we have a good number of folks here, so let's go ahead and get this meeting started. As always, I want to remind everyone that this meeting is governed by the Linux Foundation antitrust policy. If you're unfamiliar with that, and you can find more information at linuxfoundation.org/antitrust-policy, or feel free to reach out to me or Rian or Renu for details. And this is a transparent, collaborative, and harassment-free space. Our goal is to support data protection and adoption of computing technologies. Moving on to next slide. Yeah, I just mentioned that. So for agenda items, so here's today's agenda. Are there any amendments or additions anyone would like to propose before we proceed?
Rachel, I think we should probably, if we've got some time, give a pointer and update on the IDC research instrument.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Mike.
Hi, Rachel. So I think the page navigation metrics is going to be reported during the next outreach committee.
Okay, thanks for calling that out. Any other changes for this agenda item? Okay, I'm hearing none. Then we can continue as planned. Do we have any new members joining us today? If so, can you please raise your hand? I would love to welcome you, and then please feel free to introduce yourself. If no new members for today, that's totally fine, and we're happy to have all of you returning. Thanks for your continued active engagement. And next is approval of previous minutes. This is approval of minutes from our previous meeting. We currently do have a quorum. If there are any corrections or objections, please share them now.
No objection.
Sounds good. I'm hearing no objections, and so the minutes will be considered approved. Moving on to next slide. Just a couple quick announcements. And first of all, and this is a regular reminder that we have a CCC job page. And if you remember company, anyone has a job opportunity you like to post and share with the member community, and please reach out to the Linux Foundation PM staff. So Rian Renu would be the contact for you. And also don't forget to join the conversation on Slack in hashtag computing jobs. And another announcement is IDC white paper. And so Mike Farron Jones has been doing a great job leading this effort. And so he will share some updates. So I'll save the time for him to present. And so then everyone can contribute and share your feedback there for the IDC white paper. And the next is the upcoming events. And first one we have is the Linaro Connect. Mike Rosal, would you like to speak more details on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is happening right now, in fact. I'm going to be attending tomorrow and on Friday. And I'm speaking, I've got a keynote on Friday morning. If you're going to be there, I'd love to see you. And there's also another session, a panel, which I'm going to be taking part in. So there's a number of things around confidential computing and specifically ARM's CCA realms. So if you're going to be there, please say hi, and I'd love to catch up. It's in Lisbon. It's a terrible, horrible place to have to go. As you'll understand, I'm really not looking forward to going. It's one of my least favorite places, and the food's horrible, and the alcohol's horrible, and everything. So yeah, think of me while I'm there, having a horrible time.
Our thoughts and prayers for you there, Mike.
Thank you so much, Ethan, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for chiming in that details and appreciate that, Mike Prasad. And other upcoming events we have, first one is Computer Computing Summit, and that's going to be in San Francisco during June 17th and 18th. And we have I think that contract's already pending, so we'll share more details later on, but just wanted to put this on your radar. And so if you have any talks and presentations or booths during that time, please reach out to me. And so then we can coordinate in collaboration together during the summit. Another opportunity is Computer Computing Mini Summit, and this one is going to be open source summits in North America, which is from June 23rd to 25th in Denver, Colorado. If you have been reached out by us and regarding your speaker announcements, and please stay tuned and we'll share more details in later meeting today and for where we are in terms of logistics. And the last one is AI Infra Summit, and so that it's going to be in San Jose and from September 9th to 11th. Again, this is another opportunity where we're super excited. This is our first time participating. So if you're going, if you'd like to participate, please let us know. We would love to have you. And so that's all the upcoming events, and we'll share more details and later meeting today. And for the event section, I would like to and also announce the CCC monthly newsletter. This is also a reminder that we've published April monthly newsletter, and thanks to Angela and Dan's team, and we're currently calling for content submission for this month and future months. So if you have any news you would like to share or any new projects you would like the community to know, and please let us know, and I'll paste the content submission form in the chat momentarily. And again, you can also use the content form submission to provide any blog posts that you would like to share. And we've had a number of folks who've submit their blog draft and for CCC to publish. And so those are really good educational content. So love to encourage all the members to share your blog posts and use by using the content submission form. And next one is outreach metrics, and then so
Just,
Mike will also share more details there.
Sorry, Rachel, just a brief, again, my usual brief editorial comment on the blogs and the content. If you're doing it anyway, and you're doing it on LinkedIn or you're doing it on your company website or wherever, why not get extra traffic? Just go ahead and submit it onto the CCC, get it some additional eyeballs on it, or get some redirects to it. Say, hey, we've got this amazing new blog about this technology up. You know, take the freebie.
Yeah,
yep,
exactly.
100%. I'm with you on that. That's really very good advice.
I just shared the links in the chat. So please feel free to share this with your community members and anyone else who's interested. So that's all the announcements. We can move on to next slide. And next section will be marketing section. I'll hand over to Angela to talk about the social media stats and also some breakdown of our RCC stats.
Thank you, Rachel. Hey, everyone. So just a quick update for the April social media stats. We had a 1.7% of increase on our followers. It's comparing to last month, and we're now at 2,212 followers. We had a relatively quiet month last month because folks are at events, and that's why our content focus was also promoting the mini summit, OC3 session promotion, and we also had a newsletter, we had a blog in the past as well. So yeah, I resonate with Mike earlier, encouraging everybody to post the blog, and we actually had one posted today. Yeah, that's social media. And next slide, please. Yeah, and we have got our member badge options. I think Rian already shared with the folks. So if you want to take another look at it, any thoughts, feel free to share.
Share now or share later?
Yeah, I was about to ask. Yeah, so
If you have any quick thoughts, feel free to share it now.
I can go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, my initial feedback, again, personal and everything being It's a bit subjective, obviously, but I try to rationalize a little bit. So in terms of I'll start with the shape. For me, the option 2 is the preferred shape. It's a little bit different than just kind of plain rectangle. In order of preference, and then actually option 1 is second. So option 2, option 1, option 3 is my quote unquote least favorite. Again, all this just personal opinion. On the color scheme, though, a little bit more rational thought here. I prefer, like, my preference goes to, in order of preference, option 3 or 1. Having a solid color background allows to have a more contrast with the text, so it's more readable than it is with the gradient background typically. So either like just having a solid color, the black background, or is kind of the reason why I prefer option 3 and then 1 for the color scheme. Option 2, I think it's going to be tricky to implement as well. The other element in terms of the colors of option 3 and option 1 is and I don't think we will go down that path, is to have the option to, if we are to do tiers in the future, having color that could be different depending on the tiers, that keeps that option open. So these are my initial thoughts, and then pause.
So, Abby, would it be safe to summarize what you just said as you like the color scheme of 3, but the shape of 2?
Correct. I would say, yeah, I have to say in terms of preference. Yeah.
Okay. Just real quick, Intel did badges in the mid 2000s. We did badges along the shape of number 1, and they became known as tombstones.
Yeah.
So widely known as tombstones. So I think we might want to consider that in the shape of number 1. I'm resonating with Ab's feedback. Color scheme of 3 with shape of 2.
Awesome, thank you. Do we have anything else?
I think there's a couple of comments in the
Let's see.
chat.
They were mostly mine. I thought it looked like a lock, but now that you told me about the tombstones, I can't get that out of my head. So yeah, let's move forward from
there's no one seeing it now. Yeah.
All right, yeah, if that's all the feedback for now, Rian, I don't know if we want to do a vote on this with the community as well, just like what we do for the mascot. What would you suggest?
I think what we could do, so what I hear is there's an overwhelming thought, we take option the shape of 2
Yes.
and get that as in the colors of 3. So maybe we can get the creative people to design that, and we just get a thumbs up from everybody when we have that one design. I don't think there's other options required.
Yep.
I
Sounds good.
second that. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. We'll bring it back to the creative team, and then we'll get an update by hopefully by next meeting latest. And then the next slide, I'll hand it over to Dan to give an update.
Thank you, folks. Here's the next slide. As you know, we created a special landing page that initially was used for RSA conference, but it can be used for any event. And that is tied to a QR code. It's not in the navigation, or no one's going to find this page unless they either type in the exact URL or they scan the QR code. So the reason for that was so that we could get an idea of how many folks would actually use this QR code on site at the event. So we did go ahead and run an analysis of all the traffic to that page since RSA conference. So during the actual dates of the event, there were 55 visitors to that page. There's only been 1 visit since, so doesn't seem to be something folks were bookmarking and coming back to later. Of those 56 visitors, 8 of them actually clicked on one of the buttons that we presented. 3 clicked on Become a Member, 2 on the CCC Projects page, 2 went to the home page, and 1 went to the White Papers and Report page. So not huge numbers, but there was some engagement from that. And Mike, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I think as our first trip out on this concept, I think we probably got some, respectable percentages, so, folks who are looking at, click-through rates, did somebody engage? And if they engaged, beyond just the initial landing page at 14.5%, everybody would, be declaring, massive victory at 14.5%. But because the absolute numbers are low, I don't know if we can quite declare victory yet. So I think the things that we probably want to be thinking about are, how do we get more hits on how do we get the QR code more engagement during the show? Right now it's up on the banner. Like when you roll the banner up off the stand, there's a QR code on the banner. Do we need additional opportunities for folks to hit the QR code? Little.
So I
Go
would
ahead,
say
Mike.
I would say yes. Having been there, we had to direct people to the banner and then up, so it was above head height, so it was maybe 7 foot off the floor, maybe. And so I think, having something on at the front of the booth you could just point to, or the people may realize to scan as they go. That would make a little sense. It's just a little, thing on the front. I think that would make a lot of sense. That would be my feedback. Rachel, you were there as well. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I would say that like 55 visitors compared to like how many people who visit the booth, like the leads, like Rachel, is actually pretty good. So I think if we were looking at like the overall website traffic during the whole event, so I think it would be worthwhile exploring opportunities beyond just the booth QR code scan and see if there's an opportunity for us to kind of engage a broader audience instead of just the audience who stop by our booth, and that could also help boost up the number here.
Yeah, I mean, would we be able to put it in and if there's a booklet or something, could we put it in there? Or yeah, I don't know. So
Yeah.
actually, things like we could put it even on LinkedIn posts, I suppose, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so probably like online promotion, right? And because this time the event QR code was offline tracking, and so if we put it up on like the website or social media during that time, and it's just like some thinking out loud, and that could help capture some of the other traffic. Another thing I wanted to mention is that there wasn't like clear call to action on the QR code, so it leads them to the website, right? And then so for those who were like identified as hot leads, and they have very clear call to action, like, oh, how can I sign up, and where can I join? And so having that QR code wouldn't be serving the purpose of those people who need the clear call to action. So it would be great if we can directly direct them to where they can sign up to members for those who clearly have a goal in their mind. And that's another feedback I've gathered during the booth.
One other thing that we might want to add, it's because it sounds like the way that the people are engaging with it, it's really immediate. They're at the show, they hit the QR code, they go to the page, and if they see something they want, they hit on that immediately. So this is happening in the exhibit hall. And maybe we're getting fall off because it's like people are saying, I don't have time to do this right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we have, and Dan, I'm looking at you to see if this is something that we can do. Could we have like a remind me in a week or remind me in a few days?
Yeah, we can embed a form, just like keep it very simple, just their email address.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, don't have time right now, remind me in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
They get put in their email, and in 7 days, they get an email that said, hey, thanks for stopping by. This is the reminder you requested, and with the various links.
Yes, we can
I think-
absolutely do that.
I think the only possible issue with that is that you're at the show, you've got your mobile out, you scan something, and it says put in your email address, and it's saying, really, do I need to do that? I've got 1,000 other exhibits to go around.
It wouldn't be a requirement. Here, what I'm thinking of is that right now, when we go to the page on the QR code, you get like 5 or 6 options. And it's like, do I want to go become a member? Do I want to check out the projects? And we just add another button or a link or a text at the bottom that says, don't have time right now, ? Click here to be reminded in a week. And then that's when if you do have time, you can continue to engage. It's not putting
it's one of the
date.
options. No, okay, no, I get you. Okay, I hadn't really understood. Thank you. I think that makes sense.
And in terms of for a lot of people, I mean, for most people, I mean, if you click in a field that says what's your email address, it auto populates, based on your settings in Chrome or Safari or whatever.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be forced to. Like,
I would be cautious of like collecting information after the QR code, just because we already kind of collect those leads from like Lead Scanner, and one thing like what I've done was to ask like the people attendees and to take the picture of the banner, so then it has a QR code and has all our members companies. So what really kind of drew people's attention, what I've noticed, is that the banner has list of member companies there. So a lot of people, they stop by the booth and they stop at that banner, and then they wanted to check out, who are the members of the CCC, and then naturally, and then I kind of turn their attention to the QR code, and I ask them to simply take a picture of the banner, and then they can scan the QR code later on. So it just like, I don't know like how that's gonna turn out if we want to collect another information on like after they scan the QR code, and when we already are collecting the information from Lead Scanner.
Well, I think it's a different purpose. So this is, this email address entry is purely for getting that reminder email in a week after the show.
Or can we just simply like send it out to the lead, because we already have like Linux Foundation has already received a lead list, right, from those who have the who were scanned, and then can we just like combine the communication, just send a email and which has the like QR code, whatever information in it.
Yeah, whether you wanted to send separate emails to the 2 audiences, the one that signed up via the QR code or the ones that came from Lead Scanners, that's up to you all. We can do either. The leads that came in from the Lead Scanner, I did want to mention, we should do some sort of follow-up to them. We cannot just opt them in to our newsletter, for example, because they haven't technically opted in for that, but we can still send them a note encouraging them to opt in for the newsletter, or
yeah, we've got another slide which talks about the leads coming up a bit later on.
So
yes, currently Microsoft's working on that. Go ahead, my friend.
Do we have a resolution on, do we want to add the feature to, the don't have time, get a reminder in a week feature to the QR code landing page?
As long as we have a mechanism to make sure that there is an automatic resolution, or at least an automatic reminder that something happens, because otherwise it'll just fall in a hole and no one will remember they need to do anything about it.
It won't be automated, but it will go into a unique list in the Linux Foundation's HubSpot instance. So all that we need to do is just have a reminder and send them a quick email a week after the event, whoever's on that list.
Okay, so that can be managed. Okay, and I think it makes sense for what other people think.
Just a quick follow-up on this specific campaign. Beyond access to this specific landing page, was there any other specific call to action connected to this campaign? And so what was the objective of this campaign?
I think the original purpose of this page was, the concern is that we had no insight into engagement, post booth engagement. Actually, we didn't have any insight into in booth engagement except for the people who were there and if they reported out. So the QR code was designed to give us a mechanism to start counting engagements and trying to get a level of quality, pick up some kind of level of quality of engagement from folks that we met at events. So this was our first trip out with this this particular technique, and so I think we're just trying to, what improvements can we make to not only get better engagement from the tactic, but also deepen the engagement for those that don't have time to browse the CCC website after hitting the QR code.
Yeah, I think this is a really great start. And then I'm really, actually, I'm pretty satisfied with the 55 visitors because, again, like as I mentioned, the ratio, right, compared to the people who visit the booth is quite high. So it's really good turnout from my perspective. And I think for future improvements, and then I propose to have like a more thoughtful kind of thinking on like what is like, are we satisfied with those metrics, and then how can we boost it up, just have like a more thoughtful review, and rather than kind of jumping into or committing some of the feature development, because that does take a lot of efforts. So just wanted to be cautious there, and then before we commit to any work.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. Just also chiming in on improvements, I'd say also having beyond accessibility, QR code accessibility, having also kind of like a shortened link, so that people could have that option if needed. And also, my experience is not very vast in booth handling, but I've seen that every booth has kind of its own little trick or magic or rice or like how to say thing that they're giving out, and then if they sign up they get this, or if they click on something,
Yeah,
those
so
are
yeah,
250 cents.
yeah, we're already using lead scanner for that. So like what was observed during the time was that like we need to capture both like the lead scanner, also like the QR code. So what do you propose? Kind of, this is just throwing some ideas. Again, we need to have like more thoughtful thinking after this meeting, right? And so another thing is like maybe we can print out like the QR code on the goodie bags, like the swags we give, right? And so then whoever gets those goodies, and then we'll be able to kind of scan the QR code later
So
on.
the problem with that is that means we can't reuse swag because
Oh, we can, because it's a QR code which leads to the landing page, right? It shouldn't have
It'll
problem.
still work. I think Mike's saying that it'll throw off stats because someone might scan it months later and then we attribute it to the wrong event.
yeah, that's the kind of thing I was thinking.
I think that that's, it could happen, but I think that the numbers would be so low that I don't think it would throw things off too much myself.
Yeah, it should be like attributed to some goodies, right? Again, this is just like some high level ideas, and then I propose us to have like more thoughtful thinking, like after the meeting, really kind of come up with like a proposal for future improvements. But I think those are really good ideas, and thanks for all the discussion. And anything else for this item? If not, then we can move on. I want to be also cautious of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we have some time. Just let us know if we do decide to add that email capture. That's not a problem. It's very quick to set up. So we can get that done before the next event, no problem.
Great to hear. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. So next is the mascot. I know you all have seen these before. We sent the survey around. There were 20 results. If you want to jump to the next slide, I think it's more important to dig through the results of the survey. So option one, which was the more grayish colored one, got 60% of the votes. Option two had 15, and then 25 said they didn't like either. kind of summarizing the feedback, which if you want to see all of it, it's linked here at the bottom, the full feedback that everyone gave. But the summary is folks felt that option one looked more natural. A small number of folks did like the vibrancy of option two, though. A number of folks had concerns over the size of the logo, that it's too small, and especially if we were to print it on like a smaller sticker or something, you wouldn't be able to see the logo. So there were, I think, 3 different suggestions to have the mascot holding a shield so that we could put a larger logo on there.
That's very open SSF. There's a
I
danger with
know
that.
they have the goose holding the shield. That's their exact
Yeah.
logo.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just summarizing the concerns.
I have to say, I'm surprised that people preferred the 1 over 2 because I thought that 2 was much closer to our general color palette. But well,
Yeah, I don't know if anyone.
I don't know what it's like. What color do you
has-
like your armadillo? You know? I think people are saying I like a brown armadillo. Yeah. So note to self: if you want to drive engagement with an industry body, have a mascot logo comment period. So the
yeah,
most engaged.
if we could get more engagement like this on everything else we do, folks, that would be fantastic.
Totally agree.
I don't know. So do we? I mean, do we think we have a conclusion? I would say
Not quite. Yeah, I
I would
think
say
that, people definitely like number one better. I think that there were, some valid concerns though over the logo sizing. The other things about it being too cute, like it was a smaller number of folks. So if we're going more of a majority basis,
Well,
then
yeah, the other thing is that the people who like number 1 are wrong. So oh dear, sorry, that came out loud, didn't it? Yeah, no, okay. Sorry. Do we feel there's any overwhelming reasons not to go with 1? Do we think that 2 is manageable, or how close do we think we are to? Sorry, number 1 is manageable, or the issues that people have with number 1 could be resolved, or not? How do we think we are with that?
can you go back to a slide to the 2? I mean, I don't know. I'm no designer. So the thing that people seem to resonate with 2 is I like the vibrancy of the colors. Can we get some of the vibrancy and some of the highlights in number 1?
keeping the
A
more
less
natural
brown
scheme
is
that
what
might
you're
be
saying.
Or not
brightening.
even, maybe not even that, but is maybe his these little bits of armor like over his arms or ankles or something like that. Is there do you kind of pizzazz him up a little bit if there's something other than steel gray?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, give it some just some highlights around the edges.
Yeah.
We can absolutely do that.
You're now armadillo shaming is what you're doing.
I'm just giving him a little bling, not a.
Oh, okay.
Even
Another thought.
highlighting the reds and everything too would be a nice change of pace for option 1.
Wait, what was that with the reds, Shania?
Just making them a little bit brighter, I think would even
Right.
create a good pop of color and create a
Yeah.
nice contrast just for option 1.
Yeah, so in option 2, you've got, the kind of the red fingertips, feet, tail, and those reds are really tuned down on option 1. I wonder if you move those reds that are in
Are
option
they
2.
actually the same color, but they don't become as obvious?
Don't ask the colorblind guy.
No,
I'm doing my
they're
best. I'm
definitely
struggling.
lighter. They're definitely lighter on option 2.
Okay.
The other point about the logo, I don't know, I'm not sure if it will resolve things, but maybe taking the logo from option 2 into option one as well. It might make it slightly. I'm not sure how much it will really resolve the concern that was expressed in the comments, but at least it's, better than it should be more visible, I should say, than
Yeah.
like the one on the left.
Well, here's what I propose. Let's take some of the feedback back to the design team and let's do one more round with some of these suggestions. It's like, hey, people like, most people like one, but the thing that people liked about two was the vibrancy of the colors. Is there something that we can do with one to add a little pizzazz, a little bling, a little of that vibrancy without it, while keeping kind of the spirit of one.
Yeah.
And let's see what they come back with, and let's have one more look at it. But we shouldn't spend 3 months making this decision. This should
Yeah.
be one.
Agreed. Perfect. Good. We'll do that. We'll give that feedback. We'll circle back with another option, and we'll ask them to the one point to just show us both logos on the same armadillo, so that folks can see which one might pop more.
Thanks, Dan.
I think we can skip this one. This was just some folks
Yeah.
that sent some AI images of other animals.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, team. Great work, Dan and Angela. Now let's move on to IDC white paper updates. Mike, over to you.
Okay. So IDC survey, their team, we've got the contract signed, teams engaged. I'm kind of taking the lead as far as the main point of contact for them. We are currently 1 week behind schedule, which is not bad, but it's also, we're in the very early stages of the target. They provided an initial outline of the survey on the 29th of last month. I thought it was off the mark, that it was just too muddled and it was kind of all over the place. So I provided them a bunch of feedback specifically around trying to use the way the questions would be to talk about use cases and discover whether those use cases were found valuable by the audience or by the respondents. Then on the 12th, they sent me back a revised full survey. So the outline, they blew out the thing to a full survey instrument. And I looked at it and I'm left a little cold, actually a lot cold. The way that the questions are being asked and what they are asking makes me wonder what we're going to get out of those questions. So, I just kind of want to come back and just do a check with the team to make sure that my reactions are aligned with what the committee wants to do. Do we want to use this survey opportunity to gain insights for ourselves? So we want to know what things like, what is the awareness rate of confidential computing among the survey respondents? What use cases do they find particularly resonant? Those would be great insights for us as an organization. On the other hand, are you trying to create a source material for marketing and PR? So like the original Everest white paper, for example, on the market size for confidential computing was primarily a marketing and PR effort. It was to go out and tell the world that the market for confidential computing is very large and is very exciting and is an area where people want to invest. Is that what the purpose of this survey is?
I just wanted to
that's-
kind of provide. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, please.
Oh, I was about to answer Mike Farrenjohn's question. So the context of, or the goal or context of the white paper, IDC white paper, was to update the market data on our website. We previously published a CCC or computational computing market data that was published by Everest Group, but that market data has been outdated. And so the and like goal behind this was to have a refreshed market outlook on how like the sizing opportunity, and then like what are some of the revenue projection and data like that for computational computing industry. So Mike, yourself, feel free to chime in.
No, I was pretty much what I was going to say as well. And also to say that it's very much up to this group what we want to do with it. I think it's clearly something needs to change, but and I want to work out with Mike what support he needs to get the best out of this. Does it need other people to be looking at the survey questions? Does it need other people to be at the meetings? Does it need information setting here? What do you think, Mike?
The biggest thing, I can continue to be the primary on engagement. It would be great to have additional eyes on it if somebody wants to join me in that endeavor. I do think, though, that I need a refresher, I think, or clarity on what the North Star on this one is, which is are we driving toward a white paper, a set of data and a white paper about that data that is insightful to us, or one that is primarily designed to be shown to the public? And for example, if I want it to be primarily insightful for us, I would maybe like to go, I'd really like to go, with something around use cases and saying, confidential computing can do this. And people would say, oh, that's an amazing application. We hadn't thought of that before. That's something we would be valuable. Or they would look at that and they would say, nah, not really into that. And that would be great insight to find out which use cases people are particularly interested. That's going to inform things like, what events do we want to target? What themes do we want to hit in our blogs and social? It'll be insightful to the members to say, hey, we're focused on this area, and this IDC survey isn't revealing a lot of interest in it. Or, hey, there's way more interest in this than in India than we thought. Maybe we need to, go there. So that research would be, I think, very useful to members. It may be less valuable as a public facing insight and data set.
And my general feeling would be that we want stuff that's going to inform the members, to help the members set their plans for the next 12 to 18 months. But that's just my thinking. I can be wrong about that, obviously.
Well, I would also want to say that like what's helpful to members can also be very insightful to the general audience. And so when we initially put together the survey topics, right, and those are very aligned with the use case areas. And I think it would be also very valuable for the general audience to understand like what is the market outlook across these countries in those survey topics.
Let's
Any
have
other
other voices. Yeah, please. Thoughts? Anyone?
Yeah.
I would also second what Rachel said. I think that there might be an interesting path that satisfies both of these conditions of being important market research information, and also becomes important insights for us. It becomes a rich portfolio of projects for others as well.
Yeah, sounds good. And then it would be helpful if it's helpful, Mike, and then if you could share that like survey with us again, and then we can have Renu include that in the meeting minutes, and we can send it out and then spread it with all the community members and for a more detailed read. And then Guzo, thanks again for your participation, and I'd love to kind of get your an engagement in the project meetings with IDC as well. And if anyone else is interested, and please let Mike Farron Jones know, then we'll add you to the meeting.
Yeah, I saw Guzo raised his hand here, and so yeah, it would be great to have, you know, one or two kind of regular fellow travelers with me on this one, just to make sure I'm not getting tunnel vision on my particular preferences.
Yeah, thank you so much for the updates, Mike Farron Jones. Really great work. Thanks for all your leadership. Anything else on this topic? If not, then we can move on to next. The next topic is membership benefits page. So this page and this topic was brought up in a couple meetings ago, and this was intended to clearly communicate the value proposition of joining Competition Computing Consortium to potential members. So we would like to have you review the proposed membership benefits and provide the feedback by May 21st. So Mike Farron Jones has put together this proposal, and thanks again for all your work. And next, and we'll incorporate the feedback once you have reviewed this, and then we will present it at the governing board meeting on May 28th for approval. And once that's approved by both outreach committee and governing board, and marketing team can refresh the content on CCC membership benefits page.
And
Mike,
just a reminder on that is that we do have a member benefits page, but it's no good. I put it together because I felt we needed something. Oh, sorry, Mike, I do apologize. And people who've better eyes and thoughts and knowledge about marketing and stuff than I spotted it was rubbish and said, let's improve it, which I'm absolutely behind. Mike, please, I do apologize. I got in front of you.
Oh, no worries. It was just the thing that I am proposing. So the one I put together as an alternative does rely on something that I don't necessarily know is true, which is, are there governing board spaces reserved for members of certain classes? So for example,
so the answer to that is members of the general class, which includes startup members, get to vote for up to currently 3, I think, general member reps who sit on the governing board.
okay,
That is the answer.
Mike, I would say take a look at the proposal and align it to what is actual reality. Because what I was
Okay.
kind of thinking is that as you work your way down the membership tiers, you go from having a guaranteed seat, you had a premier membership, you're a guaranteed seat on the governing board, to a general member that maybe you have the ability to stand for election to one of the 3 seats of the governing board. So you've got
And to vote for them, yeah.
1 in 3 shot. And then if you're, you know, clicking down to say like a startup member,
there's no difference. There's no difference in the rights between a startup member and a general member. Okay. It's just for the first year you don't pay the CCC membership fee, and I want to keep it that way. The associate member is separate, but the general and startup should be exactly the same.
So take the proposal that's posted there as a proposal of form, not fact. And what I appreciate you doing is going through and making sure that the facts align.
Could you just email me a copy of a link to it, and I'll go over it. Perfect. That'd be great.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah,
I think it's pasted the link in the chat, Mike Purcell. So that's
I know it'll disappear though, and I'll forget about it. So if Mike would be kind enough to email, I'd be very kind. Thanks.
All right. Do we stalled out? What's happened? We lose Rachel?
Oh, maybe we did.
No,
Oh,
we
wait,
haven't
can you hear
looked.
me?
Okay, there
We
you are.
have you
We
You're
can
now.
hear
back.
you now.
Okay. No, I was saying that, hey, Rihanna Renew, as I pasted in the chat, and can you please share the CCC membership benefits proposal to the mailing list, and as well as part of the meeting minutes? So, because we would like to have outreach members review and provide feedback by May 21st, and then after that we can incorporate the feedback.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And moving on to events. First is the budget update, and Rian, over to you.
All right. Budget is aligned with what we're spending is aligned with what we've been planning, so everything on track there. The savings that we made by not attending Finos have been counted back to the budget and taken out of this year's planning, so we can have it for next year, as we discussed last week. And yep, there's the numbers, and if there's any questions, reach out to me. Or we can take questions now.
Awesome. Thank you, Rianne. And next is going to be the RSAC ritual. Mike Brissell, would you like to share your experiences and insights over here?
Yeah, sure. So we had a really quite a big booth in terms of RSC, and we had I was there, Hightower was there, Rachel was there from the LF and the CCC, and although Rachel is also, of course, from IBM, I had folks from Anjuna, Hushmesh, IBM, Intel, Invery, NVIDIA and TikTok all staff in the booth, which is absolutely fantastic. We got 193 leads. Not all of them will be good leads. Some of them will be, just taking swag and stuff. But we got 18 membership inquiries, of which I think at least half are going to be, real ones. So maybe more than that. So I absolutely count that as a really, really good return on investment. That's just fantastic. A fair number of requests for materials. And of course, we had the website quick click-throughs, which we've already talked about. Thank you, Dan. In terms of how it felt, there was a lot of traffic. We were not in a desperately high traffic area. It's one of the things about getting one of the cheaper booths, but there was still lots of people went by, and huge improvement. More people seem to have an idea of what confidential computing is than in previous years. Which someone's doing something right, whether it's us or not, I don't know, but that's really, really good. And I have to say that having a larger booth made a really good impression. I think it really, really feels, the smaller booths, they're fine, but having a bit more space just gives the suggestion that you know what you're on about and your quality and all those sorts of things. The AV didn't work great for a variety of reasons. I think we need something that's going to be showing something all the time. We need an easier way of doing it rather than sort of balancing a laptop on table and having trailing wires and stuff. So we could do some work on that. But overall, it's hard work. I stayed, right to the last minute, and it's a good thing. I had someone 20 minutes before who was a proper lead, so I'm very glad I did. So I think it was very worthwhile, and thank you for everyone for organising and helping staff it. It's much appreciated.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for all the great updates, Mike. And again, really appreciate all the members who participated in the booth collaboration. It was great to have you. And with that being said, and let's move on to the next slide. And so this is a quick update on the Computational Computing Summit. And so for the event logistics, and we've shared all the speakers that we've selected from our end and all the content to the organizer. And also we have very detailed logistics. And then however, and for details such as like the code and for members to get the tickets to the summit is pending on the contract. So I think Ria and Renew, they have been really kind of chasing down the contract and the payment, and they are completing that. And so once that's completed and done, and then we can go ahead and announce all those logistics. And you'll also hear back from the event organizer Computational Computing Summit directly about what to expect for your speaker session, and also like what is the booth code from or what's the conference code from us. So again, that's pending contract. And another item for Computational Computing Summit is that I was able to book the venue for the CCC Happy Hour for CC Summit. So this is our tradition, if you don't know. And the CCC Happy Hour is kind of our tradition for CC Summit. And this year, it will be hosted on June 16th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. located at Shelby's Rooftop West Terrace Private Dining Outdoors in San Francisco, within walking distance of the CC Summit. And we hosted the CC Happy Hour at this venue in 2023, so it should be a good option for us again. The contract is also currently in the signing process, and Rianne and Renew have been in helping with that. So these are all the updates for Competition Computing Summit, and please stay tuned and for all the communications that will be coming from us, and once we have the contract signed, and we'll be sharing all those details with you soon. And moving on to next slide. So this is the CC Mini Summit, and this is open source summits in North America from June 23rd to 25th in Denver, Colorado. So the current update is that Renew and Microsoft are getting the logistics completed. And first one to note is that the room numbers will be confirmed around 2 weeks before the event, and we're all set to have the session recorded. And Renew is currently working with Microsoft to prepare the agenda for talks. So for the speakers,
okay, if I need to be doing things, please let me know, because I wasn't aware I was. So if there's anything waiting on me, Renew, please let me know.
Sounds
Okay.
good. And Renew, anything else that you would like to add for this?
Nothing else. This is pretty much covered. Just a reiteration that from Christina, it has been confirmed that room numbers can be confirmed only 2 weeks, as you mentioned. For the agenda, I shall be working with Mike Bursell going in future. I dropped him an email, but this is something which will be in progress. So yeah, this particular announcement right now might have sounded new to you, Mike. Apologies for that, but I shall be working with you in collaboration.
I knew things were happening, but I wasn't sure if there was something waiting on me. So let's make sure we do that. We can do it on Slack. That's great.
Thank you for the updates. And then, so for those who have submitted speaker sessions into this conference, and please stay tuned. And again, watch out for communications coming from us momentarily. And so that concludes all the updates for events. And moving on to, this is just a roadmap for 2025 events we have. And move on to next slide. Any other business? If no, then we're
meeting
right
today.
Yeah, very busy. Thank you very much indeed, Rachel. Well done.
Yeah, thank you for all your great work, and look forward to seeing you in the next meeting. And have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, folks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Yeah, bye.